everybody loves takeaway, one time or another, for whatever reason. It could just be that, you know, we don't fancy cooking. It could just be that we're at a food festival or something like that. But for people with allergies and intolerances, this can be a minefield, with some places even refusing service to those with allergies. So today, I'm going to show you some ways to make some takeaway favourites at home that are allium free. My name's Pam. I'm a herbalist, nutritionist and dietitian and a chef, and this is Blue's Food. So Tanny asked me, you know, if we could have, you know, hot dogs and burgers and stuff like that. Well, one of the things that we have as a major one for a lot of people with allium allergies tend to steer clear. It is a complete minefield. So, you know, going from what's in the actual sausage or the hot dog or the burger, has anyone added anything? Do they know if anything's added? You know, is there just a little thing on the label that says seasonings? Because the second it just says seasonings means that there's some kind of garlic in it generally, or onion. So that can be a major issue. So today I'm going to do 3 different allium alternatives to go with hot dogs. And we're going to have it with non-onion rings, and we're also going to have non-garlic mushrooms. So let's get into it. We're going to start off today with doing our non-garlic mushrooms. Now, I have already taken the stalks out of these and left the little cups. So I have a baker's dozen of those, and I've also prepared my tray for the oven. So I've got a little rack on there so that when the butter melts, they're not going to be sitting in their own juices going soggy, because that's not what we want. So to make our butter, we're going to start with that first. So what we're going to do is we're going to just use some ordinary margarine. Now you can use proper butter if you want. I would suggest maybe 100 grams or whatever suits you. That way you have a little bit left over for again. You can either put it in the freezer or the fridge. It's not going to be too much of a bother. So we're just going to scoop a bit of this out. That should be around about 100 grams. Let's pop that aside. What I also have here is some chopped flat leaf parsley. I'm going to add quite a nice good handful in there. Well, good couple of pinches. So a couple of tablespoons. And I also have some chopped up lemon peel. So we're going to add a little bit of that as well. Not a huge amount, you don't want loads, just enough. Because lemons go really, really well with mushrooms. And then we just got to mix it. Now if you wanted to, you could add some chopped up capers and things like that. But when you're looking at people that are a little scared of new things, it's probably not a good idea. But if you like them and you want to make them for yourself, I would probably do it if I was just doing it for myself. And I would chop up some capers or some Pullman capers or whatever you want into it. That's an option. You could also look at using herbs like thyme or oregano. But I think this just needs to have a bit of freshness to it. So what we're going to do next, grab ourselves a spoon and fill our little mushroom cups. So that's enough. You don't want to, you know, and we're going to get those so that they can go straight on their tray, just there, because we haven't done the rest of it yet. But this is, there we go. this bit we're going to be making the coating. So we're going to do the eggs first. Grab a couple of eggs, pop those in there, like that. Fork. Give it a bit of a beat. Does go in there, right? And we've got a little bit of plain flour, and we've got our breadcrumbs. Now it's up to you what breadcrumbs you use. These are dried ones that I've made using some of the stale bread that we've had around the place, and I've just dried it out and put it through the processor. You could use fresh, you could use panko, you could use whatever the heck you like. It's not a big deal, okay? So, what we need to do now is we're going to go, let's put those there. We're going to bring our tray over and we're going to go dip our mushroom straight in the flour, then into the egg. Now if you wanted to season your breadcrumbs, you can, but I'm choosing not to because we've got quite a lot of flavour in that butter already, so there's not really a lot of point. So put that there, straight in the breadcrumbs. Now you can as well double coat these if that's what you would like to do. That just means popping it back in the egg with your wet hand. Okay. And then back in the breadcrumbs. Okay. And then back on the tray. There we go. Now I'm going to get all of these done very, very quickly and we'll move on to the next step. So there we go. They're all done, double dipped, the whole works. Now at this point, if you really, really wanted to, you could freeze them. I would freeze them on the tray, and once they're frozen, put them in a bag or a container, whatever is your preference. But you could, at this stage, freeze them and then put them in the oven, frozen, ready to go. I'm not going to do that today because we want dinner tonight, not next week. And we're going to put these in the oven. My oven's a gas oven, so they'll be going in at gas mark 6, which would be 200 degrees Celsius. And I'll put the Fahrenheit on the screen. One of the most popular toppings for hot dogs and burgers is sauteed onions. Yeah, there's your problem right there. Sauteed onions. But it's everyone's favourite. My partner, who's allergic to onions and garlic, has come in later in life. It's horrific, and since I've moved in and I am a garlic and onion fiend, it's made life even worse for him. If you saw him after chopping some onions, you would understand my reluctance to actually have this anymore. So what I'm doing today is I'm going to turn this into, with some help from some red pepper and some mushrooms, into a worthy substitute for sauteed onions. You could, of course, just use these. So what I've done is I've pre-sliced all our fennel and our mushrooms and our red pepper, and we're going to go over to the fry pan. So first off, we're going to start off with a bit of butter. Or you could use oil, you could use vegetarian spread, vegan spread, whatever you wanted. butter, whatever. This is takeaway. It's not about being wholesome, it's about being naughty. So butter it is. Okay. Well, first off, I'm going to put in we're actually going to put them all in together. Why I put them in separate things, I don't know. We're just going to pop them all in together. Like I said, you could have it just as the fennel itself if that's what you wanted to do. But this gives you the right texture, makes things a little bit more fancy. Fancy's a word. I'm going to give that a bit of a... I'm going to let it sit for a minute, let the heat move through it, and go from there. Minutes and it's done. So one of the most popular things that we have with our takeaways is onion rings. Now, because we can't have onion rings, or Glenn can't have onion rings, I'm going to use this fennel. Now, fennel is a bulb like an onion. However, each of the layers is slightly different, as it's kind of a leaf. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut it the same way as we would if we were cutting onion rings. We're just going to do this. So we've got about 1 centimetre thickness. I'll put that bit to the side. Now here's a few I've done before. Just pop these in. Like I said, it's a leaf, it doesn't actually join, but it's close enough. I'll keep these aside for something else like a soup or casserole or whatever, but you just want the really big outer ones. Oof. A little bit more of a chop through there, so we can very carefully maneuver this last bit off. Oh, busted. Right, okay. They're all for the soup pot. No problem. Now next, we have to make our batter. We're going to do a very, very basic batter. It needs to be very, very light. You don't want it to be overly thick for this. So we're going to use some of our flour straight into our bowl. Wait, not that one, this one. There we go. Actually, we could probably use a little bit of that one. So we've probably got about a cup of flour in there, maybe 2. And some soda water, just plain soda water, nothing fancy. Just a little bit of soda water that's still got some fizz. Oops. There we go. Simple. Now it's up to you if you want to put seasonings in this. I'm going to put what I used to put in onion rings. I'm going to put a little bit of mixed herbs. This is just a basic mixed herbs, and I'm just going to put a little bit of that in just to give it just a little bit of flavour to the batter. There we go, and that's done. Simple. Not hard, is it? Okay, so what we've got to do now is we're going to get our little fennel rings, dip them in there, straight in the batter. We've already preheated our oil in the pan, and it is just about ready to go. So I'm just gonna bring you over here. Hang on, give me a sec. The next step is to drop our fennel rings in one at a time. Not all of them all at once, just one at a time. They're not going to take very long to do. And you don't want to overcrowd the pan because you don't want to drop the temperature of the oil. So that's our first few. Right. These can be picked out, popped on our plate with a bit of kitchen roll underneath to make sure that they don't get all soggy while we cook the others. And our mushrooms are ready. Everything is done. It's awesome. So we've got our fennel rings, we've got our sauteed not onion mix, we've got our garlic mushrooms that aren't garlic mushrooms. So all we have to do now is put it all together. So I'm going to grab hot dog. Now, you need to find out what hot dogs you can get that do not contain alliums. If it does not say on the jar, don't buy it. But talk to your butcher as well, because they might be happy to make you some, or at least sausages that haven't got alliums in them. Okay, so next I'm going to grab a little bit of our sauté mix. It looks pretty good, I'm not going to lie. And I'm going to have a few of the little onion rings. And I'm going to grab some of the mushrooms, a couple of the mushies, because, you know.
Couple? Do you know what a couple is?
You have 8.
I'm just saying you said a couple, I'm just saying.
Do you want some more?
No, that's your plate. I'm doing
right
my
then.
plate in a minute.
Okay then.